Boys and girls, welcome back to the show. It's nice to see you. I hope you were doing well. Your Wednesday was fantastic. I'm working on the same Japanese whiskey here. It's the same glass, actually. I could come here and I could try to bullshit you and change outfits for each of the 3 videos of the week, but who we kidding? We know that I'm filming all 3 of these at the same time. So look, it's the same drink, it's the same whiskey, and let's just hit it. You know what I'm saying? So I actually I'm very happy with my concept for this video, because what we see sometimes is that the concept of owning a home is really big for a lot of people. And I think that that's almost universally the case before you buy your first home. And when you buy your first home, you go, yeah, it's complicated and there's a lot of different things that happen, but if you've got a good agent, I always look at it like kind of like an Apple product where you've got a very complex process or system, right? Electronics, but it's very simple to the end user. That's what a good agent should do for you. They should operate much like an Apple product should. Now, homeownership can seem very big, very complex, right? But I try to boil it down, and that's kind of the point of this video, into let's make it very, very simple for all of us to understand the value in owning a home, okay? So stick with me. I actually crunched numbers and I did math for this video, and you know, that's a bold move for me, everyone. So let's make this as logical as possible. Let's just say for the next 5 years, whether you own a home or you go rent an apartment, you're gonna stay in that home and or apartment for the next 5 years. I know that's probably longer than the statistical average, but just roll with it. Let's just say 5 years, because we gotta have a length of time to work with here. So scenario number 1 is you rent a 1-bedroom apartment. And for the sake of this example, we're going to use Utah, because that's where I live and am based out of, is around the Salt Lake City area. So the average 1-bedroom apartment rent in the greater sort of Utah, Salt Lake area right now is $1,100. For those, some of you, that's going to be like sticker shock, like I can't believe it's that expensive. For me, I moved here from Los Angeles, so $1,100 is like, man, it is so cheap. So over the course of the next 5 years, if you just rent a average 1-bedroom apartment in Utah, that's $66,000, okay? And that's a lot of money if you think about it, $66,000. And at the end of that 5-year period, what do you have to show for yourself? Answer, really nothing. And I'm not knocking you, I'm just saying nothing. You move your stuff out, and if you're lucky, you get your security deposit back and you move on to the next phase of life, whether that's to go buy a house or to go rent another apartment, right? But you put $66,000 into the world, you had a place to live, you had a roof over your head, but you have nothing else to show for it, okay? Now, that $1,100 a month in rent, that's going to equate to about a $200,000 mortgage, okay? These are rough numbers. Yes, it depends on interest rates and property taxes, but I used kind of a ballpark average of like a middle ground of here's where you would be in $1,100 a month, roughly $200,000 home, or realistically condo, which, hey, at least in Utah, right, for 200 grand, you're probably not buying a house, you're probably buying a condo, maybe a townhouse, probably a condo though. But you know, the funny thing about this is, isn't a condo just kind of like an apartment that you rent? So it's not, it's really like the same lifestyle per se. And chances are at 200 grand, you're at least gonna get a 2-bedroom condo, because there's just not that many 1-beds, right? So chances are you're gonna get 2, so you're gonna get more space, but that's kind of beside the point. If we just look at the sheer math of it. Okay, let's assume that you have no down payment, because it's going to make our job here a little bit easier. So if you simply paid your mortgage over the course of the next 5 years, you're going to pay down roughly $20,000 on your mortgage. And just so you have an idea of where I'm getting these from, I went and I looked at my basically breakdown from my mortgage of, hey, at the end of month number 1, paying your mortgage, here's how much you're gonna have actually paid off on your mortgage. And I looked at the end of 5 years and I just kind of crunched the numbers for a $200,000 place. So at the end of 5 years, what you bought that was $200,000, you're now gonna owe about $180 on it, okay? So you're up $20,000 in terms of you now owe $20,000 less on your home. Let's talk about the other end of it, which is going to be appreciation. So if we just say, hey, look, on average, most homes are going to appreciate, real estate's going to appreciate about 3% a year, which is very much to be expected. Like, it could be a little higher. It's, uncommon that it's going to be much lower. It's going to average out to about 3%. So at the end of year one, your $200,000 place is going to be worth $206. At the end of year two, it's going to be worth $212. At the end of year three, it's going to be worth $218. At the end of year four, it's going to be worth $225. And at the end of year five, it's going to be worth $231,000. So what do we have here? At the end of 5 years of simply, let's just say at the end of 5 years of renting, well, what was the net result of it? You spent $66,000. You had a place to live, you had a bed to sleep in, assuming you have a bed, which I hope you do, because futons can suck. You spent $66,000, and that's it. You moved on to the next phase of life. At the end of 5 years of owning a home with the same monthly mortgage payment, right? You're up $51,000 between $31,000 that your home went up in market value and then about $20,000 that you paid down on your mortgage. So my question to you, pretty simply, is do you just hate $66,000? Like, do you just despise money and you're just like, ugh, 66 grand, like I don't want it in my life? Or you could be like, man, I got $51,000 in equity in my home, right? And I get that's like sort of on-paper money. It's like stocks. It only really matters if you sell it and you actually cash in those chips, or refinance your house and cash in those chips. But guys, this is pretty significant. I would make one more point to you, right? I've got one more point, everyone, which is rent fluctuates. So in year one, sure, your rent might be $1,100. If you think they're going to keep it at $1,100 a month for the course of 5 years, I mean, you've either got a really generous landlord, you live in a rent-controlled district, which is pretty uncommon, or your landlord's an idiot and they're just not increasing the rents to keep up with inflation, right? So that's a benefit of mortgages is, hey, for the most part, mortgages don't change because you have a fixed rate mortgage. As long as I don't change anything, refinance, whatever, my mortgage payment right now is going to be the same thing that's going to be about 28 years from now when I'm done paying it off, right? So, because you're starting to get the picture here, right? Your rent's going to increase, your mortgage is going to stay the same. You're going to piss away $66,000, or at the end of 5 years, you could have about 50 grand in the bank in terms of equity in your home. Guys, owning a home, like, I'm giving you a sales pitch here, but I'm giving you an honest one, right? Like, I'm an honest salesman, which is you're literally pissing away money if you keep renting an apartment. And I'm going to do a second part to this to go, well, yeah, but 200 grand, what if I can't even get anything for 200 grand, but I can't get approved for 300 grand, which is what I need to spend in order to get something that I actually want to get? Don't worry, we're going to cover that. We're going to cover that in part 2. That's going to probably come up in about a week or so. So guys, look, that is my point to you. Like, especially if you're somewhat young and you watch this, like, look, I bought my first house in Utah when I was 34, right? When I moved here. And guys, it's one of the best things that I've ever done in terms of a sheer data-driven money decision. It's amongst the best things that I've ever done, okay? So that is my plea to you. Just consider it, right? And if you need any help, you can always reach out to us. I would like for you to think of us as a resource to you to help if you need it. This is kind of our vibe. We get stuff done. We are actually, I like to think, pretty good at what we do, but we're not going to be stuffy with you, right? We're just going to keep it real. Maybe we'll have a drink together. This past weekend, we took a bunch of our clients. We floated down one of the rivers out here, and it was a good time, right? So 1911syndicate.com. If you need help, reach out to us there. Subscribe to the channel. If you ever get value out of this stuff, if you want to like really do a good deed for the day, you can share this stuff on your Facebook page so that all the grandparents or whoever is on Facebook these days can see it. Anyway, cheers. I hope you guys are well. We'll see you in a couple days.